Good evening, everyone. This is Rachna Makhija, Senior Research Analyst with iFAST Financial India Private Limited. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you Mr. Ashwin Patni, who is the Head of Product and Alternatives with Axis AMC. As we all know, the Indian IT sector has been one of the best performers in the year of pandemic 2020. Today, on this call, I would like to request Mr. Ashwin to give us insight on his latest NFO, Access Technology ETF, an exchange traded fund tracking the Nifty IT index. A small key highlight about the product from Mr. Ashwin. Please go ahead, sir.
Hi, hello and good evening, everyone. And hi, Rachna, and thanks for having me here. Um, I will just, as you explained, that this is essentially, an ETF which will focus on the tech sector, the IT sector that we have. It is one of the most vibrant sectors in the Indian markets, populated by some of the best quality as well as fast growing companies that we have in the country. And we all know the big names which are there, the companies that have created massive amounts of value or wealth for investors over the last 10, 15, 20 years. So it doesn't require, honestly, an introduction for anybody who has been tracking the equity markets. But the question that people can ask is why this structure that we have, which is the technology sector ETF. And the answer to that is that a lot of people want to play certain themes in a focused manner. And we believe that this route that we have, which is to provide a sector ETF, is a very easy method by which people can, take a basket of IT stocks in a single transaction, and it allows them to capture the opportunity which is working at a sector level and not limit themselves to only one or two stocks. And of course, as you may be knowing, but a quick introduction to the IT sector, the Nifty IT index is that it has the 10 best largest IT stocks which are there in the markets. So essentially, you get really the sort of the best ideas which are there in that sector, and a very predictable and very clear portfolio when you get in, because upfront, because of it being a passive portfolio, there is no uncertainty in terms of what is the basket that you are getting into. So just a quick introduction, but essentially IT as a theme is a really secular long-term growth theme in the country, and that is essentially the opportunity that we are trying to capture from an investor's perspective.
Okay. Thank you, Ashwin. Uh, I would like to begin with few questions. So my first question is, tech has done remarkably well in 2020. At a time when the focus is shifting towards cyclical and value themes, what gives you confidence to believe that there is enough of steam left in it?
Sure. So, as I said in my previous opening remarks also, yes, tech had a great run in 2020s. Part of the reason was the tailwind, which has become very clear to investors, that is coming in from two or three different directions. The first is the whole wave of digitization. It has been building up in the last few years, and it has gotten a big impetus because of COVID and the lockdowns. So that helped really, and in the Indian IT sector has been at the forefront of being able to capture the opportunities from the whole digital and that space. The second part is, certain margin levers that, this whole work from home environment has opened up for the IT companies. Their biggest two costs are real estate and salary. And, in that sense, certain amount of elbow room, and we have seen certain margin levers that are getting opened up. And the third is that a really good, uh, uh, the market recognizing the secular growth potential which is there in a time when economic situation has been more uncertain. A lot of sectors have gone through ups and downs. So sectors which provide a more secular growth potential are much more, people prefer those, or people have a more, appetite for those type of. So therefore, yes, we have a great year, but what we have to recognize is many of these themes are not essentially about just one year. the IT sector had been showing very good growth even before 2020. The growth prospects for the next many years are really strong. Indian IT companies are at a good scale, but still there is a lot of market share that they can still take from global players, which they continue to take on a year-on-year basis. And so essentially, this is a story about the long-term opportunity and not just about the next quarter or next few quarters as far as we are concerned.
Okay, sure. Thanks. So my next question is, what makes a passive IT fund better than an actively managed one, given that the latter has the option to invest into mid and small caps and other high-tech growth companies, growth platforms like FL, IndiaMart, IRCTC?
Yeah. And I think it's a fair question, but one thing which you have to recognize is when you want a sharply positioned sector portfolio, then essentially for every sector, the number of stocks are essentially quite limited, right? For example, if you look at the IT index, we are talking about essentially 10 stocks which are there. And within those also, what you typically find is that it's the big companies which are really, which dominate. And that is why we believe that passive is a great solution for sector funds, because the ability of an active manager to really dramatically have a differentiated portfolio is not so easy in a sector fund, because the number of stocks available itself is so few. And ultimately, when large stocks like say Infosys, TCS, etc. are dominating the space, for you to not have those and have very small stocks as a part of the portfolio is something which most fund managers, active managers, you will see, will find it very difficult from a risk perspective. Just to give some numbers, the top two stocks are essentially, 50% of the portfolio, which is Infosys, TCS. If you look at the top 6 stocks, essentially that's 80-90% of the portfolio. So that is, while there are 10 stocks, basically your top 6-7 stocks are the ones that are dominating. And that is the true, not just in IT, but that is true for most sector funds. But the beauty of the passive strategy also is that it is not that this is the same structure that will remain. Tomorrow, suppose, as you gave some examples, some companies become upcoming and they grow, then automatically their allocation into this index will also go up over time, and investors will get to participate in that. Equally, if one of these existing large companies starts to drop off because of their performance, because of their business challenges, then automatically their weightages will also come down. So these are self-correcting things which anyway index construction takes care of. And given essentially, ultimately, it boils down to the fact that the number of stocks available in a sector are limited, then passive works really well, because the ability of any active manager will be very limited to do anything within a very tight universe.
Right. Okay. So basically, to address liquidity concern, will a market maker facility will be available? Can you shed some light on the probable charges for the same?
Yes, great question. And ultimately, that is the one unique thing about the ETF structure, which is that unlike a normal mutual fund, this is listed on the stock exchange and trades like a stock on the stock exchange, and people can buy and sell units. So, for example, the face value of the ETF in this case, we expect it to be in the region of about 150 rupees or something like that. So people can buy and sell, even a single unit on the stock exchange on an intraday basis. And that's the beauty of the ETF, because it allows you to take this exposure in a very easy, simple, seamless manner. But it also brings the question which you asked, which is a very relevant question, which is what kind of liquidity do ETFs have? And the answer is that yes, the liquidity is reasonable, because what SEBI has done is it has made it mandatory for every ETF that is launched that we should have at least 2 market makers. So even in our case, we will be having 2 market makers. Apart from that, there are other market participants that do track these instruments, and they do, for example, arbitrageurs, etc., who do step in and they do trade these kinds of instruments as well. So over time, what we have seen is that the liquidity of overall as the ETF ecosystem in India has improved quite remarkably in the last few years. So today, for most of the frontline indexes, whether it's the Nifty kind of indexes, whether it is some of the large sector indexes, they are reasonably liquid, and investors can easily sort of buy, sell this one. The arrangement with market makers is also that they provide quote within a reasonable price band of the live NAV. So also it's not just about getting the liquidity, but also getting the liquidity at a fair price, which was the other question. So investor doesn't really pay any cost. That's the arrangement is obviously set up by the AMCs. But in a way, the thing that investors have to really worry about is, are they getting a price which is close to the fair value at any given time? And that is really the ask that we have with the market makers, that they have to quote within a reasonable range of the fair value so that investors can get the units at whatever is the current prevailing NAV.
Okay, that's really great. What will be the expense ratio for the direct and the regular plans?
Typically, we expect, because these are sector ETFs, so typically sector ETFs get priced at around 20 basis points. So this also is partly a response to your earlier question about active versus passive. You get two important benefits when you are passive. One is, as I mentioned earlier, you get the full basket. Anyway, it's a limited basket. But equally, the second one is that you have a dramatically better, pricing. So when I mentioned, as I answered your question, we expected to price it at around 20 basis points. Typically, actively managed funds, even sector funds, will price themselves at maybe more than 2% or something. So there's a significant benefit for investors when they look at these type of options.
Okay. One very important question is, what will be the tracking error and how will you manage it?
So that's where again ETF structure really helps. For those who are new to ETFs, let me just take a step back. In ETFs, what happens is that we always replicate the basket. When you say the basket, so if we are referencing ourselves to the NSE IT Nifty IT index, then there is a certain basket of those 10 stocks in a particular weight that we need to replicate. And whenever we create any units, we always make sure that we create the same basket, and the cash level in the portfolio is left at pretty minimal levels, because you don't get normal small inflows, outflows like a normal mutual fund in an ETF. Though the smaller ticket retail investors trade it on the stock exchange, and only the authorized, what are called the large authorized participants, they trade with the front house. Okay. So that mechanism ensures that the basket replication becomes relatively straightforward for us, and also basically allows us to make sure that the tracking error is minimized. So we do have an informal target. We also have, we do have a formal target internally that we track. We want to make sure that all passive funds that we run have a very, very tight tracking error. And essentially the way to do it is to make sure that the portfolio as closely as possible completely replicates the underlying benchmark index which we are tracking. And also we minimize any cash levels in the portfolio.
Okay, sure. And how often the index will be rebalanced?
So typically what we have seen is that there's the indexes that are managed by NSE, which is what this is a part of that family. Typically we see 6 months and 12 months rebalancings, where 6 months tends to be a more basic one, and a more significant one tends to happen once in a year. So this is the second advantage of, or rather the third advantage. I already gave two advantages of passive funds. One is it's far more efficient because of the small universe sector funds. Second is the smaller cost, which is TER. And third is because it is a very stable portfolio. You don't have too much churn cost, which comes to the investor also. As I was mentioning, NSE only reviews it on a periodic basis. And even when they review it on a periodic basis, the changes are kept at a minimum, only what are absolutely needed. If some new stock, as I was giving the example, comes in because there's some new company has done really well and it has to be added, or one of the existing company has to drop off. So those type of changes are done, but typically our experience has been as those changes tend to be pretty small relative to the overall portfolio. So the churn tends to be very, very less. And therefore the kind of transaction costs which get loaded onto the investor, because ultimately if the fund incurs those transaction costs, then indirectly those costs get borne by the investors. So that also comes down quite remarkably. So that's the third reason why passive funds work much better in this kind of a context for investors.
Okay. In fact, this product seems very attractive for passive funds, which is gaining traction in this industry. Would you like to share any concluding remarks?
Yes, in fact, I will take upon your point, which is that passives are really gaining space in India. For a long time, the industry was focusing only on actively managed funds, and we believe that and we believe that active funds will continue to be relevant. It is not that they will go away, but in a healthy industry, especially with investors becoming more and more mature, there is enough space for both active and passive strategies. So I think what we are seeing in the last few years is rightfully passives coming into their own, and especially a lot of new product innovation will happen in the passive space. It's a great way for example, these sector ETFs provide they work for a large number of different investors. They work for long-term investors who want to play the theme as a long-term theme, but they also play for people who want to trade in and out of certain themes, because you believe, like last year, if there was a COVID context and people wanted to one way of playing that was to look at the winners, which is, IT sector was one big winner, and people wanted to play that in a quick way. Then it is a very easy and quick way to play it is through these kind of, sector ETFs, which allow you to trade them. So these kind of products allow different investors to do their own whatever is they are trying to achieve in their portfolio. And equally, because it's ultimately a very high quality basket of growth oriented and good quality cash generating companies, ultimately it is a great good long term theme also for long term investors to consider as well.
Sure. Thank you so much for the wonderful insight, and thank you Team Axis, and thank you iFast Research. A great pleasant evening to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you everyone, and all the best. Thanks.